Today on the USA News, Iran's Revolutionary Guards Corps just tested a new missile that could pose a major threat to U.S. forces in the Middle East. Is this a game changer for Iran, or a big mistake? Find out next. Hey folks, welcome to the Watchman USA News. We begin today with what is being called by some a game changer for Iran and others a big mistake. And we'll break down why both of those things are true in a minute. First, what happened yesterday? The Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, or IRGC, of Iran announced that it had successfully test-fired a new long-range, nuclear-capable ballistic missile called the Haveza. Now, Iranian media outlets reported that this missile has a range of 1,400 kilometers, which means many bases throughout the Middle East where U.S. troops are stationed are now within striking distance of the Islamic Republic should they so choose to attack them. Folks, if you do not think that this does indeed put U.S. bases throughout the region on high alert, then you're kidding yourselves. The U.S. military takes every single threat from Iran seriously, and rightly so. And right now, there are tens of thousands of American troops stationed throughout the Middle East. Many in harm's way. They are going to take this threat very seriously. Again, they have to. Now, this missile reportedly was launched from Iran's Semnan province, which is north of the capital Tehran. It apparently flew over the Gulf of Oman and into Pakistani airspace, before coming down in a pre-selected target area, so it did not hit a specific military installation in Pakistan. No one was hurt. But again, this missile can reach Israel, U.S. bases in the Middle East, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, etc. All of that. Now, Pakistan condemned the missile launch, saying that it violated its sovereignty. That's a very interesting wrinkle to this story. This is not the first time that Iran has sent missiles flying into Pakistani airspace. There was another incident back in March of 2019. This has caused a diplomatic rift between Iran and Pakistan. Two Muslim nations that should be friends, but certainly are not at this point in time. Iran says, "We're sorry, but we were targeting terrorists inside Pakistan." Pakistan says, "Hey, Iran, don't you dare violate our sovereignty. Don't send missiles flying into our country ever again." Nevertheless, this latest missile test really puts all bases throughout the Middle East on notice. Now, what else do we know about this missile? Well, folks, not much. Information coming out of Iran, obviously we can't verify it. We don't know how accurate it is. But again, U.S. officials say that this missile is most likely nuclear capable. And I would take them at their word. Iran has been very open about the fact that it wants to develop the capability to strike America with a nuclear weapon. They've said this over and over and over again, not just recently. Also, remember the strikes against U.S. interest in Syria over the past few years. In one instance, an Iranian general boasted, "We wanted to hit the Americans with a shoe, but we ended up hitting them with a truck bomb instead." They actually used that analogy. He said, "Oh yes, we will get the Americans eventually." So clearly there is an Iranian desire, even if it's not official, perhaps that comes from the top, to strike the United States. And this missile certainly appears to be part of that equation. Again, folks, it puts U.S. troops in harm's way. U.S. generals have acknowledged that, and it poses a very real threat. On the other hand, and this is why I say this is also a huge mistake on Iran's part, is because according to Iranian media, the message that they want to send with this missile is that they are angry over the recent visit that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu paid to Greece last week. Now again, if I'm reading this right, if this is indeed the case, then Iran is linking arms with Russia. Remember the massive earthquake that struck the city of Athens last week? The second largest city in Greece? Well, Russian President Vladimir Putin was the first world leader to call Benjamin Netanyahu and offer his condolences and aid. Now, in the aftermath of that, Netanyahu canceled his trip to Russia, which he was planning to make, and instead went to Greece to show solidarity with the nation of Greece after this massive earthquake. Folks, let's just cut through all of the rhetoric here. Iran wants to build a bomb, and they will not hesitate to use it. If they acquire the bomb, they're not going to say, "Oh, no, we won't use it on Israel." They will not hesitate to use it. There is no red line that Iran will not cross. As we've seen time and time again, they are willing to kill anyone. Muslim, Christian, Jew, and it doesn't matter. And they're willing to kill anyone in order to advance their revolutionary goals and to acquire power. So you think that they're going to say, "Oh, no. If we get the bomb, we won't use it on the Israelis." You're kidding yourselves. They will use it. The question before us all is when. And one thing that we know for sure is that Iran made a huge mistake yesterday in my view. And the view of anyone who values human life by testing this missile once again. Folks, keep this situation in prayer. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Pray for the hand of God to be over the nation of Greece as they recover from these earthquakes. These are Bible times. We live in perilous times, no doubt. But these are also Bible times. God Almighty still sits on the throne. Let's make sure that we are doing our part here on the ground, including praying for the peace of Jerusalem and praying that God Almighty protects His people. He is still in control. A quick programming note before we go. Tomorrow, Wednesday, September 6th, we will have a special live stream right here on the channel between 4 and 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be getting your questions as well, so be sure to submit those. And we will be talking all things in the Middle East, including Iran, of course. And what is happening there, whether Iran wants to admit it or not? A house divided. What is going on inside that country? A lot of turmoil, a lot of upheaval. Folks, we will be taking your questions as well. So please join us tomorrow between 4 and 5 p.m. Eastern Time for a special live stream right here on the channel. We look forward to seeing you there. Till then, keep the people of Greece, the people of Iran, the people of Afghanistan, all those in harm's way in your prayers. God Almighty still sits on the throne. He is in control. One last note before we go. Yesterday was the deadline that Hamas set for the release of Palestinian prisoners held by Israel. 2,400 of them, I believe, are in Israeli prisons. Hamas gave Israel until yesterday to release a significant number of them, or else they would resume hostilities, rockets out of Gaza into Israel. Well, Israel did not meet the demand. Hamas, surprise, surprise, launched 3 rockets into southern Israel last night. Thankfully, they were intercepted by the Iron Dome missile defense system. But nonetheless, another volley by Hamas against the world's one and only Jewish state. And folks, I believe that this will continue unless there is a major change of events on the ground. The status quo is simply not sustainable. We live in perilous times, no doubt, but Bible times. God Almighty still sits on the throne. Keep everything that we've talked about in your prayers. Till tomorrow, thanks so much for joining us here on the Watchman Newscast. God bless you, and remember, never hold your peace. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the newscast. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an upload. Tap the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video is posted. And don't forget to share your thoughts, insights, and comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.